Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we plan, prepare, or work hard, failure is an inevitable part of the journey. It does not matter if you are a student, an entrepreneur, an athlete, or an artist. At some point, you will face setbacks, rejection, and obstacles that feel insurmountable. However, failure itself is not what defines you. It is how you choose to respond to failure that shapes your identity, your character, and ultimately your success. Too often, people associate failure with personal inadequacy. They think that failing at a task means they are not smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough to achieve success. This kind of thinking is not only harmful, but entirely untrue. Some of the most successful people in history have experienced massive failures before reaching their greatest achievements. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He conducted thousands of failed experiments before finally inventing the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he famously responded, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." The sting of failure can make you want to retreat, to avoid taking risks, or to stop chasing your dreams altogether. But those who succeed in life are not necessarily the most talented or the luckiest. They are the ones who refuse to stay down. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but rather a test of their determination. Each time they stumble, they see it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to come back stronger. One of the biggest reasons people fear failure is because of societal expectations. From a young age, we are conditioned to believe that success is a straight path. Graduate from school, get a job, achieve milestones in a predictable order. But real life doesn't work that way. The truth is, the path to success is often messy, filled with detours, setbacks, and unexpected roadblocks. Those who thrive are the ones who understand that setbacks are not the end of the road, but rather a necessary part of the journey. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she faced multiple rejections from publishers. She was a struggling single mother, living in near poverty, but she did not let those circumstances define her. Instead of giving up, she kept writing, kept improving, and kept believing in her story. Imagine if she had stopped after the 10th rejection. The world would never have known the magic of Hogwarts, but because she refused to let failure define her, she eventually found a publisher who saw the potential in her work. Today, she is one of the best-selling authors of all time. Failure is often a disguised blessing. It teaches resilience, patience, and the value of hard work. When you fail, you are forced to reassess your strategies, refine your skills, and push yourself beyond your comfort zone. Every great innovator, athlete, and leader has encountered failure, but what sets them apart is their ability to stand up one more time than they fall. Michael Jordan, widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, did not make his high school varsity basketball team on his first try. Instead of letting that rejection define him, he used it as motivation to train harder, to push himself beyond his limits. He once said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I have been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. Is why I succeed." Jordan's failures did not break him. They made him stronger. The fear of failure holds many people back from even trying. They are so afraid of falling that they never take the first step. But if you never try, you guarantee failure. Growth comes from taking risks, stepping into the unknown, and embracing the possibility of falling. The greatest breakthroughs often come right after the most painful setbacks. When you fail, it is an indication that you are pushing yourself beyond your limits, that you are striving for something greater. Many people look at successful individuals and assume they had an easy journey, but they only see the finished product, not the struggles behind the scenes. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because his editor thought he lacked imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told early in her career that she was not fit for television. These individuals did not let someone else's opinion or temporary setbacks define their future. Instead, they chose to believe in themselves and keep moving forward. In our personal lives, failure can come in many forms: failing an exam, losing a job, facing rejection, or experiencing heartbreak. Each of these moments can feel like the end of the world, but in reality, they are just chapters in a much larger story. The way you respond to these moments will determine the direction of your life. You can either let failure break you, or you can use it as fuel to propel yourself forward. Imagine a child learning to walk. They fall dozens, maybe hundreds of times before they finally take their first steps. But they never give up. They do not sit on the floor and decide they are not meant to walk. They keep trying, keep adjusting, and keep learning until they succeed. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we forget this natural resilience. We become afraid of falling, of failing, of looking foolish. But if we could approach life with the same determination as a child learning to walk, there would be no limit to what we could achieve. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to be defeated by it. No one gets it right the first time. No one reaches success without obstacles. But the ones who keep standing up, who refuse to stay down, who take every fall as a lesson, those are the people who ultimately achieve greatness. So the next time you fail, remember this: it is not the end. It is not a sign to stop. It is just a challenge, a stepping stone, a test of your perseverance. You are not defined by your falls, but by your willingness to rise. Stand up, keep going, and never let failure be the end of your story. Resilience is one of the most important qualities a person can develop. It is the ability to recover from setbacks, adapt to change, and keep pushing forward despite obstacles. In life, challenges are inevitable. No one is exempt from difficulties, whether they come in the form of personal struggles, professional failures, or unexpected hardships. But what separates those who succeed from those who give up is resilience, the inner strength that allows someone to stand back up after every fall. People often think that success comes from talent, intelligence, or luck. While those things can play a role, the truth is that resilience is far more important. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you give up the first time you face failure, you will never reach your full potential. Resilience is what allows people to keep going, even when the odds seem stacked against them. It is the ability to endure disappointment, learn from mistakes, and keep moving forward, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. There are countless examples of individuals who have demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, facing unimaginable hardships, yet he never lost hope. He emerged not with bitterness, but with a vision to unify his country and bring about change. His resilience transformed South Africa and inspired millions around the world. He did not allow the injustices he faced to break him. Instead, he used them to build something greater. Another powerful example is Oprah Winfrey. She was born into poverty, faced abuse, and was told she was unfit for television early in her career. But she refused to accept defeat. Instead, she worked relentlessly, improving herself, seizing opportunities, and overcoming the barriers in her way. Today, she is one of the most influential media figures in the world. Her story proves that resilience is not about avoiding failure, but about using failure as a stepping stone to success. Resilience is also about mindset. When people experience failure, they often fall into a cycle of negative thinking. They tell themselves that they are not good enough, that success is impossible, or that their dreams are out of reach. This kind of thinking can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you cannot succeed, you will stop trying. If you stop trying, failure becomes permanent. But resilient people think differently. Instead of seeing failure as the end, they see it as part of the journey. They ask themselves, what can I learn from this? And how can I come back stronger? They refuse to let temporary setbacks define them. One of the biggest lessons in resilience is understanding that setbacks are not permanent. No matter how difficult a situation seems in the moment, it will pass. Time and effort can change even the worst circumstances. When people face hardships, they often feel like they will never get through them. But history has shown that those who persist, who refuse to give in to despair, eventually find their way to better days. The human spirit is incredibly strong, and resilience is the force that helps people endure even the toughest times. Developing resilience is not always easy. It requires effort, self-reflection, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. Many people fear challenges because they associate them with pain or failure. But challenges are opportunities for growth. Every difficult experience teaches something valuable. When people face hardship, they develop strength, wisdom, and character. They learn what they are capable of, and they build the confidence to handle future obstacles. Resilient people do not avoid challenges, they face them head on, knowing that overcoming them will make them stronger. A crucial part of resilience is emotional control. Life is full of unexpected changes, and sometimes things do not go as planned. When faced with disappointment, many people react emotionally, letting frustration, anger, or sadness consume them. While it is natural to feel these emotions, resilient individuals do not allow them to take control. Instead, they acknowledge their feelings, process them, and then focus on what they can do next. They understand that dwelling on negativity will not change their situation, so they redirect their energy toward finding solutions. Resilience also involves surrounding yourself with the right people. Having a strong support system can make a significant difference in overcoming adversity. No one succeeds alone, and having friends, mentors, or loved ones who offer encouragement can provide the motivation needed to keep going. Resilient individuals seek out people who inspire them, challenge them, and remind them of their strengths when they feel weak. They understand that resilience does not mean facing everything alone. It means having the wisdom to lean on others when needed. Another important aspect of resilience is adaptability. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and being able to adjust to new circumstances is essential. People who are rigid in their thinking often struggle when faced with unexpected obstacles. But those who are adaptable see change as an opportunity rather than a threat. They remain open to new possibilities, willing to shift their strategies and embrace uncertainty. Resilient individuals do not cling to past failures. They focus on what they can do now to move forward. Resilience is not about being unaffected by failure. Everyone feels disappointment, frustration, and doubt at times. The difference is that resilient people do not let those feelings control their actions. They acknowledge their struggles, but they refuse to be defeated by them. They continue to take action, even when things seem hopeless. They push forward even when progress is slow. They believe in themselves even when others doubt them. And in the end, it is that persistence that leads to success. History has shown that resilience is one of the most powerful traits a person can have. It is what allows people to rise from poverty to wealth, from failure to triumph, from despair to hope. It is the inner strength that keeps people moving when everything around them suggests they should give up. And the best part, resilience is something anyone can develop. It is not a special talent given to a select few. It is a mindset, a habit, a decision to keep going no matter what. Anyone who wants to succeed in life must learn to embrace resilience. It is the difference between quitting and persevering, between failure and success. Those who keep pushing, who refuse to be defined by their setbacks, who rise every time they fall. Those are the people who ultimately achieve greatness. No matter how many times you fail, what matters is that you always stand up one more time than you fall. That is the true measure of resilience. Failure is often seen as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. Many people fear it so much that they hesitate to take risks or step out of their comfort zones. But failure is not the end. It is a powerful learning opportunity. Every setback, every mistake, and every disappointment holds a lesson that can help shape a stronger, wiser, and more capable version of yourself. The key is to change the way failure is perceived and to see it not as a reflection of personal inadequacy, but as a stepping stone to growth and improvement. When a child learns to walk, they fall repeatedly. They stumble, they lose balance, and they hit the ground time and time again. But they do not see falling as failure. They do not get discouraged or think, maybe walking just isn't for me. Instead, they keep trying, adjusting their movements and strengthening their muscles until they finally succeed. This natural resilience is something that most people forget as they grow older. Instead of embracing mistakes as part of the learning process, they begin to fear them, associating failure with embarrassment, shame, or a lack of ability. But if people could retain the same mindset as that learning child, they would realize that failure is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to adjust, improve, and keep moving forward. History is filled with examples of individuals who used failure as a learning opportunity rather than a stopping point. Take Thomas Edison, who famously failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. When asked about his repeated failures, he responded, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His perspective is a perfect example how failure can be viewed as valuable information rather than defeat. Each attempt brought him closer to the right solution. Instead of giving up after his first, second, or thousandth failure, he used every setback as an opportunity to refine his approach. That kind of mindset is what leads to success. In the world of sports, failure is an essential part of becoming great. Michael Jordan, widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was once cut from his high school basketball team. Many people would have taken that as a sign that they were not good enough and walked away. But Jordan saw it differently. He used that failure as motivation to train harder, improve his skills, and prove his worth. He later said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." His failures were not dead ends. They were lessons that fueled his growth. Failure teaches important skills that success alone cannot. SaaS alone cannot. One of the biggest lessons it offers is resilience. When people experience failure and choose to get back up, they build mental toughness. They learn that setbacks do not have to define them, and that perseverance is often the key to reaching their goal. If success came easily, without any challenges or difficulties, people would not develop the strength needed to handle future obstacles. It is through failure that they build endurance, patience, and the ability to adapt in the face of adversity. Another valuable lesson that failure teaches is problem solving. When something does not work, it forces a person to analyze what went wrong, rethink their approach, and find a better way. In many cases, failure leads to innovation and creativity because it pushes people to think outside the box. Some of the greatest discoveries and inventions in history came from mistakes. The discovery of penicillin, for example, happened because Alexander Fleming noticed mold growing in one of his petri dishes. Instead of seeing it as a ruined experiment, he investigated further and found that it could kill bacteria. That mistake led to one of the most important medical breakthroughs of all time. Failure also builds humility and self-awareness. It forces people to acknowledge their weaknesses and recognize areas where they need to improve. This kind of self-reflection is crucial for growth. If someone succeeds all the time without ever facing challenges, they might develop an overinflated sense of their abilities. But when they fail, they are given an opportunity to reassess, adjust, and become better. It teaches them to accept constructive criticism, seek guidance, and continuously work on improving themselves.
One of the biggest reasons people fear failure is because of how others might perceive them.
Society often glorifies success and hides the struggles that lead up to it. Social media, for example, is filled with highlight reels, people sharing their achievements, but rarely their struggles. This creates the illusion that successful people never fail, which is far from the truth. In reality, every great success story is built on a foundation of setbacks, mistakes, and lessons learned. Understanding this can help shift the way failure is perceived. Instead of seeing it as a source of shame, it can be recognized as a natural and necessary part of the journey. Overcoming the fear of failure requires a mindset shift. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What will I learn if I fail?" Every time something does not go as planned, it presents an opportunity to gain new knowledge and experience. Instead of being discouraged, ask, "What can I do differently next time?" This way of thinking allows failure to become a tool for self-improvement rather than a source of discouragement. Many of the most accomplished people in the world did not succeed on their first attempt. Authors face multiple rejections before their books are published. Entrepreneurs often experience failed business ventures before finding the right idea. Scientists conduct countless unsuccessful experiments before making discoveries. But the common thread among them all is that they do not give up when they fail. They take the lessons, adjust their strategies, and try again. In personal life, failure can come in many forms: failing a test, being rejected from a job, experiencing a broken relationship, or struggling with a personal goal. It is easy to take these setbacks personally, to see them as proof of inadequacy. But in reality, each failure provides an opportunity to learn and grow. A failed test can show where more study is needed. A rejected job application can lead to new skills or a better opportunity elsewhere. A broken relationship can teach valuable lessons about communication and compatibility. Every failure carries a lesson, and those who take the time to learn from it ultimately become stronger. Oh, the key to embracing failure as a learning opportunity is persistence. Falling down is not the problem. Staying down is. The people who achieve their dreams are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who refuse to let failure stop them. Every time they stumble, they use it as a stepping stone to something greater. They understand that each mistake is just another lesson. Each setback is just another challenge. And each failure is just another opportunity to grow. The only real failure is the failure to try again. Self-belief is one of the most powerful forces in life. It is the foundation of confidence, motivation, and resilience. When people believe in themselves, they are more likely to take risks, push through obstacles, and achieve their goals. However, self-belief does not come naturally to everyone. Many people struggle with self-doubt, questioning their abilities, and fearing failure. But developing self-belief is essential because without it, even the most talented and capable individuals will struggle to reach their full potential. One of the biggest reasons self-belief is so important is that it shapes a person's actions. People act based on what they believe to be true about themselves. If someone believes they're not capable of achieving something, they will not put in the effort required to succeed. On the other hand, if they truly believe they can accomplish a goal, they will work toward it with determination and persistence. This belief fuels motivation, pushing people to keep going even when they face difficulties. Consider the example of successful athletes, entrepreneurs, and artists. These individuals did not always start out as experts in their fields. They faced doubts, failures, and setbacks along the way. But what set them apart was their belief in their own potential. They did not wait for external validation or for someone else to tell them they were capable. They trusted in themselves and kept pushing forward. It is this kind of self-belief that separates those who succeed from those who give up. Self-belief is also critical in overcoming fear. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to success. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment. These are all emotions that can hold people back from taking action. But when someone has strong self-belief, they do not allow fear to control them. Instead, they acknowledge their fears, but move forward anyway. They understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but simply a part of the learning process. For example, imagine an entrepreneur who wants to start a business. If they lack self-belief, they might tell themselves, what if I fail? What if no one buys my product? What if I am not good enough? These thoughts can be so overwhelming that they never even take the first step. But a person with strong self-belief thinks differently. They acknowledge the risks, but they also tell themselves, I am capable of figuring this out. I will learn from my mistakes. Even if I fail, I will try again. This mindset allows them to move past fear and take action. Another powerful aspect of self-belief is its impact on resilience. Life is full of challenges, and no one is immune to difficulty. But when someone believes in themselves, they do not see obstacles as signs to give up. Instead, they see them as temporary setbacks that can be overcome. They trust in their ability to find solutions, adapt to new circumstances, and keep moving forward. This resilience is what allows people to bounce back after failures and continue striving toward their goals. Self-belief also influences how people perceive criticism and rejection. Many people take criticism personally, allowing it to damage their confidence. But those with strong self-belief understand that criticism is not a reflection of their worth. It is simply feedback. They use it as an opportunity to improve rather than letting it discourage them. They recognize that rejection is not the end of the road, but simply a redirection towards something better. One of the greatest examples of self-belief in the face of rejection is J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before her books became a global phenomenon, she was rejected by multiple publishers. If she had let those rejections shake her belief in her work, she might have given up. But she believed in her story and persisted until she finally found a publisher who saw its potential. That self-belief ultimately led to one of the most successful book series in history. Developing self-belief is not always easy, especially for those who have struggled with self-doubt for a long time. However, it is something that can be cultivated with practice. One of the first steps is changing the way one talks to themselves. Many people engage in negative self-talk without even realizing it. They tell themselves, I am not smart enough. I will never succeed, or I am not as good as others. These thoughts become deeply ingrained beliefs that affect actions and decisions. To build self-belief, it is important to replace these negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I am capable of learning how to do this. Instead of thinking, I always fail, remind yourself, every failure is a lesson that brings me closer to success. Changing these internal messages can have a profound impact on confidence and motivation. Another important aspect of self-belief is taking action, even before feeling fully confident. Many people wait until they feel ready before they pursue their goals. But the truth is, confidence often comes from taking action, not the other way around. The more someone steps out of their comfort zone and proves to themselves that they are capable, the stronger their self-belief becomes. For example, someone who is afraid of public speaking might avoid it at all costs because they do not believe they can do it well. But if they push themselves to speak in small settings, practice regularly, and gradually take on bigger challenges, they will build confidence over time. Each successful attempt reinforces their belief in their abilities, making them more comfortable and skilled. Surrounding oneself with supportive and encouraging people is also crucial in building self-belief. Negative environments, where people constantly criticize or doubt one's abilities, can make it difficult to develop confidence. On the other hand, being around positive, uplifting individuals who believe in one's potential can reinforce self-belief. Seeking out mentors, supportive friends, and role models can make a significant difference. Another powerful way to build self-belief is by reflecting on past achievements. Often, people focus too much on their failures and overlook their successes. Taking time to acknowledge accomplishments, no matter how small, helps reinforce the idea that one is capable. Keeping a journal of personal wins, progress, and moments of resilience can serve as a reminder of one's strength during times of doubt. Self-belief is not about being arrogant or thinking that one is better than others. It is about recognizing one's worth, trusting in one's abilities, and refusing to let doubt control one's life. It is about understanding that failure does not define a person and that growth is always possible. Ultimately, those who believe in themselves are the ones who achieve great things. They are the ones who keep pushing forward despite setbacks, who take risks even when they are scared, and who trust in their ability to turn dreams into reality. They understand that the road to success is not always easy, but they have faith that they will find a way. No matter where someone starts, no matter how many times they have doubted themselves in the past, self-belief can be built and strengthened. It is the key to unlocking potential, achieving goals, and overcoming any obstacle that stands in the way. It is the foundation of persistence, courage, and ultimately, success. Life is unpredictable. No matter how carefully people plan, unexpected obstacles and challenges will arise. Some of these challenges might be small setbacks, while others could be life-altering failures. The ability to adapt to these changes, adjust strategies, and keep moving forward is one of the most valuable skills anyone can develop. Flexibility and adaptability are key traits that separate those who succeed from those who give up. When people learn to embrace change and adjust to difficult situations, they build resilience and strengthen their ability to handle life's uncertainties. One of the main reasons adaptability is so important is that nothing ever goes exactly as planned. Even the best laid plans can fall apart due to circumstances beyond one's control. An entrepreneur might face unexpected market changes. An athlete might suffer an injury, or a student might struggle with an unexpected academic challenge. In such situations, rigid thinking and an unwillingness to adjust can lead to frustration and failure. But those who remain flexible, willing to learn, and open to change are the ones who find alternative solutions and continue progressing toward their goals. Consider the story of Steve Jobs. In 1985, he was forced out of Apple, the very company he had co-founded. For many people, this kind of public and professional failure could have been devastating. But instead of allowing it to define him, Jobs used the experience as an opportunity for growth. He went on to start another company, NeXT, which was later acquired by Apple, leading to his return as the company's CEO. His willingness to adapt and reinvent himself played a crucial role in Apple's resurgence as one of the most influential technology companies in the world. If Jobs had given up after being fired, the world might never have seen the revolutionary products that changed technology forever. Adaptability also plays a significant role in handling personal setbacks. Life is full of unexpected twists. Relationships end, jobs are lost, opportunities disappear. People who struggle with change often find themselves stuck, unable to move past their disappointments. But those who learn to embrace change see setbacks as opportunities for growth. They recognize that when one door closes, another one opens, and they shift their focus to finding new paths forward. Key, apprend. For example, someone who loses their job might initially feel devastated, seeing it as a personal failure. But with the right mindset, they can turn the situation into an opportunity to explore new career paths, develop new skills, or even start their own business. Many people who have experienced job loss later say that it was the best thing that ever happened to them because it forced them to take a new direction that ultimately led to greater success and fulfillment. Many people view failure as a dead end, something to be avoided at all costs. But in reality, failure is one of the best teachers. Every time something does not go as planned, it provides valuable information about what needs to be improved, what strategies are not working, and what changes need to be made. The most successful individuals are those who learn from their failures and adjust their approaches accordingly. A great example of this can be seen in the world of sports. Some of the best athletes in history have faced significant failures before reaching success. Serena Williams, one of the greatest tennis players of all time, has experienced crushing defeats in her career. But instead of allowing failure to break her confidence, she uses it as motivation to train harder, refine her techniques, and come back stronger. This mindset of constantly adjusting and improving is what separates champions from the rest. The same principle applies to business. Entrepreneurs and innovators understand that failure is not an endpoint. It is part of the journey. Many of the most successful companies today, including Amazon, Tesla, and Netflix, faced failures and setbacks along the way. However, instead of giving up, their leaders adjusted their strategies, learned from their mistakes, and found new ways to succeed. Flexibility also plays a crucial role in dealing with personal challenges. Life does not always go according to plan, and sometimes unexpected circumstances force people to change direction. Whether it is a health crisis, a financial setback, or a personal loss, the ability to adapt and adjust makes all the difference. Those who resist change often experience more stress and frustration, while those who accept change and look for new solutions are able to navigate difficulties with greater ease. One of the keys to developing adaptability is having a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities, intelligence, and skills can be developed through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset are more likely to embrace challenges, persist through difficulties, and see failures as opportunities to improve. On the other hand, those with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities are set in stone, which makes them more likely to avoid challenges and give up when faced with difficulties. Another way to become more adaptable is by being open to learning. The world is constantly changing, and those who refuse to learn new things often find themselves left behind. Whether it is learning new skills for a job, keeping up with technological advancements, or being willing to try new approaches in personal life, continuous learning is essential. The more knowledge and skills someone has, the more equipped they are to handle unexpected situations and adapt to change. Embracing change also requires letting go of fear. Many people resist change because they are afraid of the unknown. So they prefer to stay in their comfort zones, even when those comfort zones are limiting their potential. But growth and progress happen outside of the comfort zone. The more someone exposes themselves to new experiences, challenges, and opportunities, the more comfortable they become with change. One practical way to develop adaptability is by practicing problem-solving skills. When faced with a challenge, instead of immediately feeling defeated, take a step back and ask, what are my options? What can I do differently? How can I turn this situation into an opportunity? Training the mind to think this way makes it easier to handle setbacks with a solution-oriented approach rather than a defeatist mindset. Surrounding oneself with adaptable and resilient people also helps in developing these qualities. People often absorb the attitudes and behaviors of those around them. Being around individuals who embrace challenges, stay positive in difficult situations, and constantly seek growth can be inspiring and motivating. Ultimately, the ability to adjust and keep moving forward is what leads to success in any area of life. No one can predict the future, and setbacks are inevitable. But those who are flexible, willing to learn, and able to shift their mindset when necessary will always find a way to succeed. The road to success is rarely a straight path. It is full of twists, turns, and obstacles. But those who adapt and keep going, no matter what challenges arise, will always find their way forward. Failure is often seen as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. But in reality, failure is one of the most powerful tools for growth, learning, and ultimate success. Every successful person has failed at some point, often multiple times, before achieving their goals. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is how they respond to failure. Instead of letting it define them, they use it as a stepping stone, a lesson that pushes them forward rather than holding them back. Understanding failure as a lesson rather than a defeat can completely change the way a person approaches challenges and opportunities in life. One of the biggest reasons failure is important is that it provides valuable feedback. When something does not work out as planned, it reveals weaknesses, flaws, or mistakes that need to be corrected. Without failure, it is impossible to truly understand what works and what does not. Think about some of the greatest inventions in history. Many of them came after repeated failures. Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, famously failed over 1,000 times before finding the right design. When asked about these failures, he simply stated that he had not failed, but had discovered 1,000 ways that did not work. His ability to see failure as part of the process, rather than as a reason to quit, was what ultimately led to success. But instead of letting these failures stop him, he used them as learning experiences and eventually built one of the most successful entertainment empires in history. Failure also helps build emotional resilience. Learning how to handle disappointment and setbacks is a crucial